Hello, sheep and semantics. My name is TV's Guide, and welcome to Baba Is You, a lovely little puzzle game that made its way across my Twitter timeline a little while back, in which I desperately wanted to play, but it just sat in my Steam library for ages and ages, and I was like, oh, I don't have time to play it. I have to do YouTube stuff, until it eventually occurred to me that, hang on, I have a YouTube channel where I make videos about games with fun gameplay hooks and cool aesthetics. I can just do a YouTube video about it. And so I used that as an excuse to sit down and play the game for about an hour. I wanted to play it for 20 minutes, but it turned into an hour because, well, this is actually a really, really good little puzzle game. The rules of Baba Is You are simple. In fact, they're on screen right now. In any given level, there will be a number of phrases like Baba is you. Baba being the sheep means that you control Baba. Flag is win means that if you touch the flag, then you win the level. Wall is stop means that you can't go through walls, and rock is push means that you can push the rocks around. If you change the order of the words on screen, you change the meanings of those rules, and you can change how the level behaves. Here, I'm messing with the Baba is you phrase, which means that I am no longer Baba, which means I have nothing on screen to control, which means I have to undo my moves and go back because I've essentially lost the level. And that's something that's also in there. You can instantly undo any move that you make by pressing a button. You can just step back infinitely as much as you want. The game is not punishing or cruel. There's really no lost condition. You can just temporarily be unable to act until you undo the dumb thing that you did, and then you're able to act again. Here, all I really have to do is touch the flag, but I'm trying to be clever about it by pushing the win condition somewhere else. And I want to turn rocks into win. Boom. So instead of touching the flag, I can touch the rocks, and then I can feel very clever about myself. And this is the game, this is the thing that Baba Is You does really well. It makes you feel clever about yourself. Conditionally. It alternately makes you feel like a complete idiot, and then it makes you feel clever about yourself. Because a lot of the solutions to the puzzles in this game are completely and utterly obvious. For example, here, I have moved wall is stop out of the way. All I need to do is form the phrase flag is win, and then I can touch the flag and end the level. But I haven't quite realized that at this point because I'm kind of stuck in, oh, hang on, I want to turn something else into, and then I turn the walls into the win condition. And I feel very clever because I was like, I was probably supposed to turn the flag into the win condition, but I turned the walls into the win condition. I am very smart and clever. Which of course I'm not. The developers have taken all of this stuff into account long before I have. And here, Baba is not on screen. Wall is you, so I'm controlling a wall instead, and flag is stop, which means that I can't pass through the flags unless I make the flags no longer stop me. Which is an example of the kind of logic that this game employs. It asks you to turn your thinking about things around constantly. It asks you to challenge your own preconceptions about how game mechanics work. For example, later in the game, there's a level where you start in a room completely encircled by brick walls. Now, what you're supposed to realize is that there is no rule anywhere on the screen that says wall is stop. There's no rule that says you can't pass through walls. I spent about 20 minutes in that level not realizing that I could just pass through literally any of the walls and being unable to figure out what to do because I failed to take into account all the semantics of the rules in place. That made me feel stupid. When I finally figured out the solution to that level, I felt extremely clever. I felt extremely clever, for example, in this level where water is sink and rock is push. So I can push the rock into the water, but then the flag, which is the win condition, is still trapped behind a lot of water, and I don't have enough rocks to fill up all that water. So what do? Oh, wait, I am very smart. I figure out I can just make rock is win instead, and there we go, win the level. I felt very smart when I figured this out, although of course it is blindingly obvious. The game gets a lot, and I do mean a lot harder as you play on. There's some levels, like even in the first world, where I was kind of kicking my head against the wall trying to figure out how the hell am I supposed to even work out what this is. And by the way, if you can solve the second extra level in the lake area, you're a wizard. You're a sorcerer of some kind. It is literally impossible to do. There's no way to do it except by magic, is what I'm going to be saying until I realize the incredibly obvious solution that I just haven't stumbled upon yet, and then I'll feel like a right moron right before I stumble into another level where I quickly figure out the solution and feel like an absolute genius. I haven't felt this way about a puzzle game in a long time, that it could simultaneously make me feel so stupid but be so incredibly satisfying to figure out. And part of that is because the rules of Baba Is You are completely simple and completely transparent. It's all about how quickly you can put together the little puzzle pieces in your head to figure out what to do. Take this level, for example, Volcano. Now, first puzzle is Baba Is You is in the way. If I push you or Baba out of the way, I lose control over Baba, and I can't control anything in the level, and I lose. So I have to push the whole phrase out of the way in order to make it into the next area. Rock is push, so I just push that out of the way. But now, how do I get across the lava? Baba is melt, and lava is hot, therefore I can't touch the lava. So what am I supposed to do about it? I try turning the rock into lava. Turns out that doesn't do anything except create more lava, which of course is the whole problem. And what I'm not realizing yet is that I am being messed up by one of my preconceptions. My preconception is that lava is a liquid, you can't push liquids around. But in Baba Is You, that is not true. Whatever the rules say is true. So if I form the phrase lava is push, I can push the lava out of the way, even though it's hot, and I can win the level very easily that way. Once I figure this out, I feel like an absolute bloody genius, but up until that point, I run around the level like an idiot, feeling very stupid indeed. I think the light bulb is about to go off in, 10 seconds or something like that, where I start to figure out, oh, hang on, there's a simple way to do this. And, yeah, that's why I love the game on a mechanical level. It's just that push and pull between feeling like an idiot and feeling like an intellectual god by forming phrases like lava is push in order to push lava out of the way and get to the win flag. The aesthetic of Baba is also a big part of what kind of made me fall in love with the game, because as you can see just by looking at it, it is incredibly simplistic. It looks like something you could do in Microsoft Paint, really. With these very pixel-ish, pixelated, non-aliased edges around everything, and then the animation boil that's going on across everything. You see how everything on screen, except the walls and sort of the textures, is kind of wiggling all the time. Like rock is stop, skull is defeat, flag is win. The rock's Baba itself constantly wiggling around. That is called an animation boil. And it's this little clever little shorthand where you basically just draw the same thing like 3 times in freehand, and then you cycle through those animation frames in order to get the effect of something that looks kind of hand-scribbled and a little bit unstable and a little bit primitive. Here I turned myself into all of the walls in the level in order to touch the flag, and it felt like I was a genius. For just a moment, it felt like I was a genius. And that simplistic art style is kind of necessary for Baba Is You to work as well as it does, because, like, if this game took itself more seriously, if it had a more self-serious art style, if it had some kind of, pretentious storyline about existentialism and teenage angst or whatever, if it really did take itself very seriously, then I really don't think that I would like it very much. I really think a game that makes me feel so silly and so dumb so often would feel unpleasant and unapproachable to play. But the simplistic art style, this very limited color palette, something that looks like it could be scribbled in a notebook by someone sitting around doodling in class, it makes it charming rather than hostile. It makes you feel smart when you're solving the puzzles, and it makes you feel silly when you don't, but it never makes you feel dumb or inadequate. And I think that's kind of wonderful, actually. I really have fallen in love with both the visuals and the gameplay style of Baba Is You. And so if you're looking for a lovely little puzzle game to play that can distract you from the ennui and the misery and the horrors of existing in the year 2019 for a little bit, well, then you can do a lot worse than a lovely little puzzle game like Baba Is You. Watch me solve this one, because this is kind of lovely. I turned myself into both the crab and Baba to touch the flag. I felt like a genius.